Okay, so happy Friday to you. This is a quick video about absolute value. Absolute value from the math assignment. It's not actually on this assignment because we're still dealing with integers, but we are doing in class talking about absolute value. Now, absolute value has a couple of symbols, but first let's talk about the definition of it. Absolute value means how far from zero a number is. Essentially, if you are looking at a number line, like we talked about in class, and you have 0 here, let's say you have a 10 over here, and let's say you have a negative 10 over here. 10 is literally 10 spaces from 0. Negative 10 is literally 10 spaces from 0. So absolute value refers to the distance from 0 a number is. There is a set of symbols they use for representing absolute value in problems. So it looks like a couple of parallel lines, and then maybe they put negative 8 in there. And they ask you, what is the absolute value of negative 8? Which is asking you, hey, how far from 0 is negative 8? An absolute value answer in this case is always going to be positive because it's just asking you for the distance, okay? So negative 8 is 8 spaces from 0, so the absolute value of negative 8 is 8. I see a little bit of reflection on my screen here, so I apologize for that, but it should get you the main idea. Now, following that same method, that same idea, if I take those symbols and I see something that looks something like this, the absolute value of 4 plus 2. Okay, so I know 4 plus 2 is going to be 6, okay? So the absolute value of that is 6, and it's straight positive number 6, okay? Because when I add 4 and 2 together, I get 6, and how far from 0 is 6? Well, it's 6 spaces from 0. So it's a pretty straightforward concept like that. They can make it a little more complicated, and you can do some things like this. Let's say you took negative 3, the absolute value of that, plus the absolute value of 10 minus 1. So I'm still keeping it pretty simple, but you get the idea. The absolute value of negative 3 is going to be 3. 10 minus 1 is 9, and the absolute value of 9 is still 9. So that becomes 3 plus 9, at which point you have 12. So it's another way of throwing that in there. I can honestly say that I probably have not used absolute value on a daily basis. I haven't looked at my neighbor and said, hey, Charles, hey, how you doing? Have you heard about that absolute value today? If you can work it into a conversation with a friend and make it legit, go for it. Not something I really see there, but you will definitely see it in algebra and pre-algebra, as well as later on this year in our algebraic inequalities and things like that. It does build upon the concept we're beginning and going over with integers themselves. Now, we know that when you multiply integers, all right, there's certain sets of rules that you follow. But the absolute value sign is basically, hey, whatever number comes up in there, it's going to be a positive number for the absolute value to be your answer because it's telling you how far from 0 something is, okay? So pretty straightforward. If you get stuck on some of the concept of absolute value, hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. We're heading into a 3-day weekend, so I hope you guys have a really good 3-day weekend, and happy Labor Day to you all.